It's a lovely evening tonight in the Innsmouth Hive, or so the light panels are currently telling us. We've had scattered reports of an actual Emperor-provided Inquisitor down from the upper Hive. My guess is he's probably just showing off those new fancy boots.
That stupid eye on his forehead.
That's a myth.
Again, welcome back to 665.66 UHM Chemrat Radio, coming to you live tonight from Frank's Rucka Truck. This is Beast's personal choice in black market weapons and rat meat chimichangas. I am joined this evening by my co-hosts, Marky.
I love me some chimichangas.
Beast.
Tastes like rat and bullets.
And once again, even though we tried to Vox connect to him just a minute ago, Kevin is still on assignment with the Imperial Navy. All we got back was a bunch of whipping sounds and crying. Not really sure what that's about. We'll have to ask him next time we see him.
It's probably that peanut butter shot. They never got rid of that thing.
Jakari.
Man, the Imperial Navy seems to have changed since last I heard about it. This is episode 2 of our coverage on Orks, or I'm sorry, part 2 of our coverage on Orks. We're going to pick right up where we left off talking about Ork clans. However, before we get into that, is there any business we need to take care of in mandatory podcast fuck around time?
Tom, you had a couple of orky names that I kind of like. I don't recall any of them right now. But I think one of them was Bean Flicker.
Sassy basket bean flicker.
That's the one. And there's also like, what was the other one, Ryan? There's two gets, one cup.
Yeah, two gets, one cup.
Nah, it's just a bad television
Oh
show.
my. Speaking of, we've got some activity on the Discord right now. I'm seeing hobby progress photos of somebody working on their orcs.
Yeah. Fuck up, Tom.
Yeah, so let's talk about orc clans. Orcs are roughly divided into 6 clans. I guess 7 if you
7.
count freebooters.
Yeah.
So we'll go ahead and run down them real quick. Mark, you want to introduce the first clan there?
Yeah, so the first clan we're going to be going over is actually one of my personal favorite, the Evil Sons. Kind of a subculture, or a lot of the subculture of speed freaks are actually a part of the Evil Sons. The Evil Sons are the big red, the biggest, the reddest, the fastest gets around.
You got to remember, red goes faster.
Yeah.
Well, that's your orcs, right?
That is my orcs, yeah. They like to feel the wind in their squiggy hair.
The wind in their lack of genital area.
Yes.
That's really what it is.
These would be the
Built for speed.
Built for speed, baby.
This would be the culture that you would kind of gravitate towards if you want to field a lot of vehicles, right?
Yes. So this is the
kind of your Mad
bikers,
Max vehicle.
Yeah, the Mad Max. That's kind of the
feel. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the feel that the wife was originally going for. She wanted a big like biker Mad Max feel. Back in when we first started, she actually ran almost nothing but bikers. She really loved them. She wants to run them now.
That was a really big thing. I remember like 3rd edition, 4th edition, maybe 4th edition, 5th edition.
4th, 5th, yeah.
There was a lot of armies where you could do like, oh, this is the entire Eldar bike gang.
Yep.
This is the entire Drakari bike gang.
It was Death Stars. They ran a lot of Death Stars back then.
Well, that was also when they introduced like the big boss on Trike, right? Wasn't it?
That was 8th.
Oh, 8th was on there?
I thought the Trike came. No, the
War Trike.
Wasn't that a Forge World model from earlier?
The war boss on bike was a Forge World model from earlier. It was Zag Snark, the Ripper, I think is what his name was. But the War Trike didn't come out till last edition. Tom's laughing at my Forge World war boss. That's his legit name.
Yeah,
Zag Snark.
No, I'm sure it is.
Fuck the Ripper.
Sure it is.
The Ripper.
Yeah, very, very, very original.
Let me tell you something. You really a piece of work, man. Let me tell you something.
Drags to rip face. Taser face. Next is scrotum hat.
It was like fucking rocket launch.
Yeah, exactly.
Your name's what?
Yeah, exactly. That's how I feel. Like when people talk about orc names, I feel like Rocket. I'm
That's fair.
Wait, what's your next name? Like scrotum balls? Like
Scrotum sack.
Like scrotum hat.
Yeah, so
Snagger.
evil son boys are born just attracted to vehicles, and if they're lucky enough and they survive long enough, they might acquire their own.
Yes.
You know, they'll grow up in the passenger seat. They'll grow up in the tail gunner position, not the tail gunner position, I guess the top gunner position.
Right. And eventually,
You know?
if they're lucky gets enough,
they might get their own damn vehicle.
Yeah, they get behind the wheel.
Get why they connect it to Mad Max. That's exactly how like war boys work.
Yeah, they get their own whip. Same with whip. Same with bikes. If they're lucky enough to snag a bike, some obscure lore. We're gonna hit the. This is Marky's obscure
lore corner.
Yeah. There's actually something called beast totems. So if you guys have ever seen orc war bikers or the vehicles just in general of orcs, you'll see things called beast totems. They're the skulls of beasts that they attach to their vehicles because they believe that it increases the combat effectiveness of the vehicle. So because orcs are dumb. Let's be real. Orcs are dumb. All right, we all know this.
What?
Well, I'm sorry.
Could have fooled me.
So because when orcs they see these vehicles and these vehicles are like spitting fire and throwing smoke and they're like that's like
the
a
growl
beast.
the growl of a V8
Yeah,
or
exactly.
a V10 turns an evil son on.
And they're like, man, that thing is a beast. It needs a head. So they'll take a skull of some kind of beast and throw it up on front. And they believe it increases the combat effectiveness of their vehicle. Sometimes it's not just skulls. They'll take rare like metals, like what is it called?
Trinitrotanium.
Sorry?
Trinitrotanium.
Try not to.
You know that's from Hot Tub Time Machine.
I was thinking, what is the shit in
Core. Unobtainium.
Unobtainium.
Yeah.
Best movie ever.
It's like my favorite. My favorite like small township in Shadowrun in Seattle. Like if you need a name and you can't figure out, you're like, it's under Bridgestan. They're like, where is under Bridgestan? It's under a bridge. It's under Bridgestan. Like, how did that not?
How did that escape you?
How did that escape you? I don't understand.
But yeah, they sometimes actually cast skulls out of rare ore like meteoric chrome, kind of like a nod to Mad Max, where it's like, you chrome
that hood ornament.
Yeah, exactly. You got your chrome, you're shiny.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of hood ornaments, the glyph for the evil sons is a stylized orc face on a blazing red sun.
Yep.
Flames or spikes typically surround the blazing, snarling grotesque. So, think of a big orc face with all its fangs and its tusks, and it's just sitting on a sun.
To me, it always kind of looked like an angry squig face.
It kind of does, yeah. Yeah, totally
It's like this ugly face that's just red with like some teeth on it.
So yeah, their colors are red and yellow. They like to adorn their vehicles with flames. Yeah, think of like rat rod culture. I've actually seen some really killer conversions where people have actually taken the concept really to heart and made hot rods and rat rods for their evil sons, which I always find super cool. That scale model.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I've always liked them just for the bikes.
Yeah,
I'm a huge motorcycle fan, so I've always liked the fact that they have like choppers and stuff like that.
Yeah, I love them. I love the whole Mad Max vibe that they give off.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah, the personal lore that the wifey and me kind of gave to the orcs that we have was a Mad Max feel, just on a Mars planet, but very Mad Maxy. She has a lot of buggies. She has a lot of bikes, and I've been trying to bit smash a war rig, but I haven't had the cojones to do it yet.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I wanted to do. And it's funny because we came at it from a different perspective. We'll get to my favorite clan soon, but I've always wanted to make a war rig. It'd be a really cool.
It would.
It'd be a really cool like campaign game, not a campaign game, but like a set piece.
Oh, like a
Crusade.
centerpiece. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, have a bunch of orcs trying to protect or whatever, for whatever
the war
reason.
rig,
Yeah.
or like transport the war rig while they're providing security.
Yeah.
Something of that nature.
Pretty interesting. So what do we got next? Next, we got the Bad Moons.
Yeah, they are the richest clan.
Yep.
They are the merchant clan, actually.
Yep.
And they grow. The reason they're the richest clan is because they grow teeth faster than any other clan.
Teeth.
Tooves.
That I did not know.
Yeah.
So they like to show off. They love gold. The snazziest ones aspire to become the flashiest of gits.
Yep, and they're very range oriented. They like the DACA because they have the snazziest guns. They obviously have they have better guns, so they love shooting and they love showing it off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe that their like main war boss is what is it? What is it? It's Money Tooth Shine Griller.
I thought you were gonna go with like Paul Wall Grill Keeper.
See, instant name, boom, done.
So Bad Moons knobs usually have the fanciest of equipment. They usually have pretty well kept equipment. These guys are also, as Mark had mentioned, they fulfill kind of the merchant class of the Orks. One of the things to kind of keep in mind as we're talking about the clan cultures, don't think of it as like all of these guys live in this city, and this city of Orks is made up of only Bad Moons.
Yeah, no.
Orks travel in giant mobs, and the cultures and the cults, as we'll talk about later, are very well integrated into these mobs. Mm-hmm. So you're going to have, there's a chance that you're going to have evil sons and Bad Moons in the same war boss.
And Goths and Blood Axe. The old school Orks were played where you actually get to choose like a bunch of these different factions. Like you choose your little faction of, mad boys and weird boys and odd boys.
These front runners are my Goths. These guys in my vehicles are my evil sons. These guys with my heavy guns are my Bad Moons. And you can still do that. What a lot of people do now, at least what I think both Marky and I do now, is our war bosses are a specific type of orc. They follow a specific clan. So their entire war group, their war band, adopts that color, even if they're not necessarily all from that clan. Yeah. They all operate kind of the same way.
Right.
So Bad Moons have, in my opinion, one of the coolest glyphs. Bad Moon's glyph is perhaps unsurprisingly large and surly looking moon with an orc face, leering gob crammed full of mismatched, unruly teeth. Think of like a crescent moon with just this wicked grin. Yeah. Wicked smart. This is how my orcs talk. Wicked. It was wicked smart. That orc. He's wicked smart,
Kind of, there's some kind of like grot army in Age of Sigmar.
Gloomspite
Gits. Yeah, Gloomspite Gits. I think they have a piece of terrain that is a big, like, it essentially looks like a huge Bad Moon sign.
Yep.
It looks pretty sick.
Moons are pretty big in Age of Sigmar goblin culture.
Yeah.
And I remember them being a lot bigger in 40k in the past. Obviously, but Bad Moons, it's going to be still pretty big. So Bad Moons are going to paint themselves yellow.
Yep, and
yellows and golds with red accents.
Yep, and they have a bunch of little trinkets. Usually, they're like the bling orcs essentially.
Yeah,
they actually trade teeth for gold. Gold is actually useless to orcs because it's considered just a soft metal and it's useless. So Bad Moons trade teeth for it, so they can bling out their guns and their armor, and they even are known to bling out their own teeth. So they have like little
shine gorillas.
Yeah, straight up gold teeth.
So next is my favorite, the Death Skulls. So the Death Skulls are plunderers. They like the idea of taking everything and giving nothing back. They're going to borrow whatever they want to borrow from you for a substantially long period of time.
They like to, what is the word, Ryan? Tactically acquire.
Tactically acquire.
Yeah, they love to tactically acquire things from other orc mobs.
Yeah. I'm not going to give that back. That's mine now.
Yeah, they 5-finger discount. They like to borrow and not give back.
If it's not bolted down, they're going to take it.
Oh yeah, they're really known for their ludas actually, which is kind of funny. Because Christy loves ludas. She loves the idea of ludas, how like it's in their name. They just loot shit. They just take shit and they throw it on their crazy fancy def guns. And def guns are like basically one of the more gnarly. How do you put it? One of the more gnarly guns that the orcs have.
Yeah. So Death Skulls also, because of their nature, they have an above average number of mech boys. and they've got a lot of mech stuff. So vehicles, we talked about Evil Sons. Evil Sons have a lot of vehicles. They're addicted to going fast. Mechs are not vehicles. Mechs are robots. They're heavily armored.
Death
cybernetics.
Yep. Killicans.
Yep. I've never liked the orc mecha armor. I've always liked the concept of orc mecha armor, but I never liked the way it looked.
The actual models?
Yeah. So the way that I went with Death Skulls is I went with a very mech heavy army. And the two ways that I've distinguished that as far as my personal lore, which we'll share later, as well as the way that I field them on tabletop, is I've used a lot of plastic card to make like pistons and hydraulics and ball joints and extra armor that's all strapped to them. That's how I just took mobs and basically I took mobs and we're like, what would an orc do if it was trying to make Space Marine armor? That's how I dealt with making my mech boys.
That's pretty sick. Actually, I ran Death Skulls for a little bit because the wifey liked to run Ludas. I think I called them, do you remember what I called them? It was like the Spitfires or something like that.
I don't know. I just remember doing a game where you had like a bunch of Death Dreads and Killicans and it like murked me. Those things are resilient.
Yeah, they're gnarly. Dude, they have a lot of, it might change, but the little grot cans, the Killicans, they're funny, man. And you can run a lot of them. They're cheap.
They're
cheap and have a crap
there's like
ton of
six of them.
Yeah, so Death Skulls will try to win a fight as quickly as possible to loot everything, but their looting isn't just regulated to the people they kill. They're not just going after them teeth. They love stealing vehicles. They love looting all sorts of stuff off the battlefield. Their
main color
glyph.
I was gonna say their main
go with their colors first.
Yeah, their main color is blue.
Yes,
which is actually they believe to be what is the word?
Lucky.
It's lucky, but the reason they believe it's lucky is because it attracts the eyes of Gork and Mork.
Yes.
So because it attracts the eyes of Gork and Mork, it puts them in their favor, and that's why they believe it's lucky.
So I had mentioned to you guys off cast a little bit earlier that originally I had thought to make my mech boy, make my Death Skulls and paint them up to look like War Boys from Mad Max, because I was going to kind of do like a whole Fury Road look. I changed because of the blue. Now I'm kind of thinking like,
do War Boys with fucking Braveheart paint?
I'm thinking more like Braveheart.
That'd be sick.
Yeah. So they're green like normal orcs, but then they've gone ahead and they've blued themselves just for combat.
Yeah, that'd be dope. Green and blue is always a really good color combo.
Yeah. So Death Skull's glyph takes the form of a horned orc picked out in white and the lucky color blue. They quite often have checked designs, and either mech spanners or wrenches or other mechanical things are very, very common. Death Skulls are the engineers, they're the scientists. You're going to have your above average mechanized chunk of the army. What do we got next?
The Goths. They are probably one of the most prominent clans or cultures of the Orks because they're led by one of the, right now, biggest war bosses, Ghazghkull Mag Uruk Thraka.
A Goth likes nothing more than the hammering sound of guns and the satisfying wet crunch when his choppa finds its way deep into the throat or chest cavity of an enemy.
Oh, they love the crumpin'.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they are, I guess it's supposed to be a play on words of Goths because their main color is black, which is essentially it means that it's the red. Toughest colors. Yeah, black, red with checkers. Yeah. We kind of talked about a little bit about that in the last episode when Tom was saying that, he likes black, he likes red, and, he's a big old goth biker dude.
Right.
Yeah, that's Tom.
If I was assigned in anything, that's probably where it would be.
So Goths like nothing more than starting a fight, and they'll start a fight at the smallest provocation. And again, this isn't necessarily because they have a short temper. It's just because orcs like fighting, and no orc likes fighting more than a Goth.
Yeah, and they're also like super notorious for bringing a obscene amount of orc boys because
they bring a lot of infantry.
Yeah, they love the crumpin'. They bring like huge ass mobs, at least 20 strong, from what I hear. From down in this little hive, that's what I hear about orc.
They like to bring their groups in numbers greater than 12 and multitudes up to 20 because they love nothing more than to hear the ground shake as they march to war.
Yeah, and kind of like a general thing, all orcs actually hate grots and snotlings. They feel like they annoy them, and they're very unorky. So they just, smash them, eat them, sit on them. It's kind of generally what orcs do.
So it's basically how I feel about Kevin.
Yeah. Kevin's not here to defend himself.
That's why we sent him off to the Imperial Navy. Kevin, we need those details of the inner workings of the Imperial Navy.
We are
if you're not taking all of the notes that your tiny stubby fingers can take,
Stubbs,
it's probably because the servitors or the Mechanicus is slowly replacing them.
We voluntold Kevin to go check out the Imperial Guard recruiter, the PDF Force recruiter.
Yeah, he liked it.
He's all about he's Johnny Rico button onto that little piece of leather.
He just loves lasguns so much. I told him, I always tell him, I'm like, bolters are better, but he just loves lasguns.
Yeah, we can go on to the glyph.
No, I got a little bit more about goths.
Oh, do you? All right.
Yeah, I didn't want to step on your toes.
No,
I wanted to step on your toes because I was trying to start a fight.
Hey, man.
But you didn't fucking fight.
We all suck toes here, man.
We all suck toes. So Goths see it as their Gork-given right to lord over all other orcs.
Good, Tom?
All other orcs from other clans, everything. They feel that they are the best. The largest and meanest of Goths are known as Scarboys, and they're more prone to start fights. The veterans are more prone to start fights, even with their underlings. Also, the last big thing to bring out about Goths, especially since we've already talked about the Bad Moons and their interest in money, and the Death Skulls and their interest in mechs, and the Evil Sons and their interest in going fast. A lot of orcs will kind of go to war to further their own interests. Goths go to war to go to war. Goths believe that starting a fight is enough, and that's all it takes.
Yeah, of all the clans, the Goths love Crumpin the most. That's pretty safe to say.
Yeah. So the Goth glyph is typically a orcoid bull's head with a massive set of horns or tusks, and it's stamped with black over bare metal with black and white checks. And of course, they work in that red as well to kind of show off.
Goths love them checks.
Oh, yeah.
Them checkers.
So what do we got next, buddy?
Yeah, so up next is going to be the Blood Axes.
I've actually heard about these.
I was going to say, Tom's probably heard a little bit about these guys.
Yeah.
They are actually, to other orcs, considered very unorky, very untrusted.
Untrustworthy.
Yes, very much so, because they are known to work with humans. They are kind of a mercenary culture or clan. They love.
Well, they unlike other orcs, they'll consider a tactical retreat.
Exactly.
They'll plan out their combat ahead of time. They'll work with other races.
They're one of the few that actually utilize camouflage.
Yep.
Yes, that's actually their color. Essentially, is camouflage. The reason that they have camouflage is because they trade a lot with humans, and they'll wear their clothes. Like they're known to wear like commissar cloaks and commissar hats and baggy, camo pants.
Yeah. Well, and when I say blood axes use camouflage, I don't mean they're actually painting themselves or using camo colored clothing. They will cover themselves in tires and lay down with tires, to that being their camouflage. They'll wear a piece of there was someone who made it was genius. He took 4 or 5 orc boys.
Oh, the rhino.
Gave them pieces of a rhino.
Hell yeah.
And when they move together, they form a rhino. It looks like a rhino, but it's actually them holding up a piece.
I've been wanting to do that for
my
so
absolute
long.
Favorite part of that is that the guy who painted it painted definitely not orcs on the front.
No, and that's something that the blood axes would do.
Yeah, that's definitely a famous rhino.
The blood axes are also have a reputation because their youths form bands called Storm Boys. Storm Boys march around, wear uniforms, salute each other, and do a lot of other things that are just generally considered not orky.
Really?
Orc society is pretty anarchy driven. Any dispute can be settled with fists.
Yeah, they're very organized, and a lot of the things they do is considered unorky. Like even Tom was saying that they consider actually retreating because they feel like rushing into battle and getting killed is a waste.
Yeah. And a lot of it is because, like all orcs, they want to get into the fight, and they think that rushing headlong into the fight's a good way to not get in the fight because you get taken out before you get there. But it just shows how orc culture kind of exists.
Yeah,
It's all about the fight.
Differentiates between different clans and whatnot. Like orc war bosses, blood axe war bosses have a better understanding of strategy normally.
Yeah,
and they're willing to do tactical retreats.
And you brought it up with the rhinos. You brought it up with dressing like tires, or dressing like are hiding in a barrel. I also really like. I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a guy who did the cardboard cutout of a space marine.
Oh,
yeah.
So it's like a really badly painted ultramarine on a cardboard cutout, and there's an orc hiding behind it.
Yeah.
So blood axes will use commandos, and commandos are the stealthy orc choice.
Yeah, I've actually seen, to even add further to that, which shows how kind of creative the 40k community is, which is amazing. They actually, I don't know if you guys have ever seen those Imperial Promethean tanks, or like barrels.
Yes,
they'll stick orc arms and orc legs like against the barrel,
and like the guns hanging out the side of the barrel.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like little orcs hanging out. They need to do a crossover of, what is it, Solid Snake in the cardboard box.
You go in the cardboard box.
Yeah,
they have the same one of like a stack
orc.
of tires.
Solid orc.
There's like a stack of tires with two arms coming out of it.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
So the Blood Axes clan glyph, the Blood Axes clan glyph, those are some words, features crossed choppas, usually boasting a stylized skull either in front or behind them. Did you mention their colors yet?
Fancy. I just said camo.
Yeah,
If they have
like
specific
camos.
colors?
There's orange and camo, I believe.
Yep.
I think orange is a key color for them.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So moving on to
I think we should do freebooters last.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I think we're gonna move on to the snaky bites, which are kind of what, to me, at least with the flavor of Tom's name, the snake bites seem fitting. But as far as Tom's style, Tom is a goth. We're trying to figure out Tom as an orc because
so snake bites are considered backward by more technologically minded orcs. They embrace the old ways. They don't necessarily enjoy all them complicated technological gubbins.
Right, yeah, they're very untrustworthy of technology. They like wearing like leather and fur,
bone armor.
They love bone armor. Is bone armor good, Tom?
No, it's the worst.
It is the literal
It's
worst.
a 6-up save is what bone armor is.
It is a 7-up save.
Yeah, might as well.
They like to adorn themselves in mud and blood paint, mud and war paint.
Oh,
kill me, do it!
Yeah, right.
I'm here, do it now.
Fuck you, Dylan.
They generally embrace more of a primitive lifestyle, and they appear to have more of a weather beaten or worn look. Kind of think like old leather, old worn boots. They're experts in the field, though, of breeding stock. So they're really good at breeding specific types of grots or specific types of squigs. If you wanted to really like kind of specialize in a squig heavy army, you wanted to do like some gigantic squig offs,
squig riders,
this would definitely be the way to start. And we're kind of seeing that. I think the snag, what are they called? Snag riders?
Yeah, Bee Snagga boys.
Bee Snagga boys. Bee Snagga riders. They're goths, or not goths.
Snake bites.
They're snake bites, or they appear to be snake bites. So snake bites will happen. We kind of mentioned this last episode, but snake bites will happen when orcs kind of come up against a combat challenge that they're overcoming too quickly. You know, it's a bunch of orcs land with like heavy bolters or heavy sluggas, not bolters. They land with all this heavy technology, all these sluggas, all these kind of advanced techno weapons, and they're just wiping out an indigenous population. They'll put those weapons aside to fight they want a better fight.
Right.
So instead of just murking the entire fucking planet,
instead of taking their rugged truck squig buggy, they're going to take their squig rider and go march into battle.
And instead of running with their sluggas, they'll pick up a tree branch, and then they'll attach their gun to the end of it, and then they'll beat you with the gun rather than shooting you with the gun. And a couple of generations later, a couple of orc generations later, a couple of times they've been beaten out, and the spores have regrown and all of that, because that does happen. We had also mentioned that getting rid of an orc infestation is relatively difficult. It isn't, however, very difficult to wipe the orcs out, and then they have to start from fresh.
Yeah, they like picking up their grot be good stick. And giving a farmer a good 1-2.
Yep. So they'll come back, and a couple of generations later, you'll have some snake bites.
Yeah, they actually like to overbreed their Gretchen because their Gretchen are what take care of their like what is essentially their horses or cavalry, because they have so many like squigs that they ride and whatnot. They'll have those Gretchen, take care of them and whatnot. Their colors are usually white and red, usually like with some snakes, some swirly snakes.
And the reason that snakes are such a big part, and the reason that they're called snake bites, is the youths will actually go out and find the most venomous snake on the planet. And they'll, as a rite of passage, they'll encourage the snake to bite them.
Really?
So they can just prove, oh, yeah, I can survive. I can survive. And in fact, a snake bite will continue to do this through their entire life, building up these kind of ridiculous levels of resistance and immunity against venoms and poisons.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I never heard that. That's pretty awesome.
As Mark was mentioning, snakebite runt herds cultivate lots of Gretchen, who in times of war are given a lot of the more shooty weapons to deal with problems.
Yeah, they tell them to go clean up squig shit. Do you squig shit?
Well, yeah. No, non-wartime, they'll clean up fungi shit. I don't even know what you say.
What is it?
It's fertilizer. Squigs poop fertilizer, which makes more fungus.
I can't believe it's meat. What is it? What is it called?
Impossible.
Yeah, Impossible Burgers. Tom probably.
I can't believe it's not meat.
I can't believe it's not squig shit.
I actually really like. I can't believe it's not meat. That's what the product should be called.
I can't believe it's meat.
I think that's the. There you go.
Yeah, I can't believe it's not meat.
That's got to get. We got to write that down.
Yeah, that's we're gonna make that a patch.
Yeah.
That's what orcs are. I can't believe it's not meat because they're technically plants.
Dude, straight up, yeah.
665.66 UHM Chem Rat Radio coming to you live tonight from I cannot believe it's not meat. Yeah, so their glyphs are crude and very totem looking in appearance. They usually feature some sort of fanged serpent ready to strike, as Mark had mentioned earlier.
Yeah, and I guess we can probably move on to
the freebooters.
Yeah, this is probably one of the wifey's, like probably her second favorite, because she really likes Johnny Depp. That was her.
I was gonna say there's an orc name here. Catton. Catton Yak. Catton Yak. The sparrow. We can't use sparrow. Catton Yak. Croot Hawk.
Tom hates it.
Instead of Jack Sparrow.
Jack Sparrow.
Oh.
What can we play on Jack Sparrow?
Captain Yak Crew Hawk.
Pearly Jack Sparrow liquor. Pearly Jack Sparrow liquor, dude.
Jeez.
Done.
But yeah,
so one of your wife's favorite because of Jack Sparrow.
Yeah, she really likes pirates. She's a big fan of Pirates of the Caribbean, probably because of what's his name, Orlando Bloom. Yeah, she that was like, it was like Orlando Bloom and Johnny Depp, and panties wet all day.
Bootstrap Middleton.
He asked me to, he's just another elf.
It's really interesting to me. My first stuck in my head fucking memory of Orlando Bloom, and it'll never go away.
What's that?
Him falling backwards out of a Black Hawk and getting a neck injury, which removes him from the field of combat for the rest of the movie.
Was that
Black
Orlando
Hawk
Bloom?
That was Black Hawk.
Yep.
Yeah.
Damn, dude.
Yep. And it's
Blackburn.
really
Black Hawk Down.
It's really
Blackburn was his name.
Oh, Blackburn. Yeah.
Private Blackburn.
Yeah, that was his
really,
first,
really hard for me not to picture him like that. The other image that's burned into my mind
I'm gonna have
forever
to make the wifey watch Black Hawk Down now.
Is the bad CGI surf down the steps while shooting arrows into orcs.
Yeah. I know. Whenever anybody says Pearl Harbor, or not Pearl Harbor, Black Pearl, and Davy Jones and stuff, all I ever think of is, do you feel death?
Yeah.
Big old octopus face when he tentacle porns the dude to death.
Oh God.
That's my favorite scene. He's like, best.
Oh my God, I finally figured it out. So have you guys seen that I'm going to be Kevin for a minute. Have you seen the new, it's a trailer for a new horror video game that looks very Dead Spacey. The prisoner wakes up and he's like, oh, what's that? And it's a creepy trailer, but basically he turns around and his cellmate is turned into this necromorph looking thing. Oh. And it comes up to him and it shoots a bunch of tentacles out, and they one goes up his nose and one goes behind his eye and all this shit. And somebody posted it a couple of days ago and was like, what does this remind you of? And I'm like, this fucking trailer. This is the only place I've seen it. But now that you mentioned the Davy Jones
There it
thing,
is.
that's what they were alluding to. They were alluding to that sequence.
Davy
Yeah, the
Jones
first
just-
picture is he's like, do you know what hentai is? The guy's like, no. And it's like second picture is like all of his like his beard tentacles in his mouth.
It's just Davy Jones face fucking
Like,
this other dude.
Yeah,
with
it's
this-
like, do you know what hentai is?
Oh, God.
That actor, I cannot remember his name for the life of me right now, but the actor who plays Davy Jones,
Yeah, the vampire.
he also
Vampire Lord.
plays the
Underworld.
vampire. He also does Sean's dad and Shaun of the Dead.
Yep.
He has that.
Oh.
He has that thing where he's always like
Yeah, he does that
all of
quick
his
thing.
characters. Like, and I've seen him do
like a tick, yeah.
It's not a tick because I've seen him do an entire interview and he doesn't do it.
It's
But
an
he'll be
acting
like
tick.
he'll be in character and he'll be like, Jack Sparrow. And I'm like, why do you keep ticking, bro? Nobody understands why you're ticking. And he did it as Victor in
Underworld.
In Underworld. The movie he doesn't do it is when he's Sean's dad, or not Sean's dad. Is he Sean's? He's Sean's stepdad.
Stepdad,
And
yeah.
Shaun of the Dead. He doesn't do it in that movie.
Yeah, he dies.
He's just-
It's also a very short part.
He's very mellow. Well, I mean, like he's in. I think he's in like Love Actually, and he doesn't. Entire fucking movie, man. So we're way off what we were talking about with freebooters.
What do you want to do tonight? I don't know. Pub?
So freebooters are pirates and thieves, not to be confused with Death Skulls, who will loot anything.
Right.
Most freebooters are freebooters because they've actually been kicked out of their other clans. So whether or not freebooters is a clan that exists by necessity or if it's clan you're born into is a little hazy.
Yeah, freebooters are definitely like I think it's called an amalgam.
Amalgam.
Yeah, an amalgam, I think is what they call it. Amalgam of different orc clans all put together. Definitely they love their snaz guns. So a lot of them are actually, I believe it's Bad Moons that just eventually they finish their fancy snaz gun and they're like, I'm a freebooter now because I can buy myself an orky mansion and
And a hat.
a fancy
And a
pirate
fancy
hat.
hat. We'll get you 2 feathers.
They're like Barbosa. They live in hats.
And
Yeah, big hat.
I guess they essentially kind of work like mercenaries.
Yeah, and a lot of new freebooters exist after Gork's Grin split the galaxy, the Cicadrix Maledictum, because a lot of orc warbands have actually been partially or almost completely destroyed by warp storms.
Oh,
So these orcs, are just kind of left adrift, and they kind of amalgam together.
Yeah.
And then what do? They cruise around in their space hulks or their
rocks.
their incredibly bad functioning ships, and they just pirate because they have to survive.
yeah. I mean, she likes them. I like them. I dig them. I mean, I'm not really a pirate guy, but I mean, I dig where they're coming from. I pick up what they're putting down.
They do exist on the edges of orc society, though. But if you're going for that piratey theme, you want to go for that outcast theme. You even want to go for that mercenaries working with the Hoomies theme.
Goonies?
Hoomies.
No, Goonies.
Goonies, yeah.
Make a
There you go.
Goonies
The
thing.
Goonies,
One-Eyed
yeah.
Willie?
100%.
Dude, you could totally make a sloth. A sloth.
Oh my
orc.
God, man.
Oh God.
Sloth the trunk. A squig is chunk. Just give a
put it on
squig
its
a
back.
Hawaiian shirt.
It's the Squigga shuffle.
Yeah, just give a squig a Hawaiian shirt.
Dude.
Oh my God, I want to do that now.
Put a fucking candy bar of Babe Ruth in its mouth.
I fucking love Babe Ruth. That's the reason why I like Babe Ruth. See
Oh,
that?
really?
Yeah,
because of
that movie.
Goonies.
So-
The movie does make them look tasty.
Yeah, they're delicious.
So freebooters often compose heavy numbers of flash kits.
Yep.
And there's pretty much 2 outcomes to being a freebooter. You either get rich or you get dead.
You get dead.
Get rich or die trying.
Did you go over flash kits? I don't think you did.
Flash kits are a type of, I think we mentioned flash kits last time.
Oh, okay.
So flash kits are just, they have the flashiest of gubbins and the
snaz
flashiest
guns.
of guns.
Oh, right.
Yeah, they got them snaz guns. Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I bought the wifey a kit of flash kits. I think it was the Kill Team of flash kits, and they're surprisingly fun to put together. So
That's big coming from you.
yeah, dude, I know, right?
You
So-
hate building models.
I know, right? So the reason they're so fun to put together is because their guns, their snaz guns, are completely customizable.
Oh, nice.
So it's
That's
basically,
awesome.
it's basically just a brick, and then you have a bunch of gubbins that you can
A bunch of
slap on
bits.
it.
Oh my God, the
it's
gubbins.
fucking amazing.
Oh, the gubbins.
Yeah.
The gubbins.
So if you ever want a bunch of gubbins for
Ryan's got an erection
guns,
over here.
yeah, snaz guns on
Stop.
flash kits.
I
are
can
the
only
shit.
get so erect.
My name's Snazzy Boy Dick Driller.
Is that your Australian freebooter?
Fucking Dick Driller.
Dick Driller.
Hey,
There's a freebooter right there.
I heard the homies has something between the legs. I figured drill bit was about where to start.
Gosh, that Snazzy drill bit me for me Dick Driller.
It's a grunt arm holding a squig. all amalgam together.
Oh, teeth.
Have you ever seen? Have you ever seen? What is it? Tokyo Gore Police?
Yeah, dude, I've seen that movie.
Chick's vagina turns into a fucking toothy maw.
Have you ever
Oh my
seen
God.
the horror movie Teeth?
Yeah.
Best.
No, I did not.
You need
no,
to watch it.
I don't want to watch.
You
I
need
know
to
what
watch
it's about.
What is it? Tokyo Horror Gore Police?
Yeah,
I just said it. So it's like a early or maybe mid 1980s anime, and it's literally just all of these fucking wacky
it was
monsters.
an anime?
Yeah.
I watched the live action of it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So at one point there's a woman who's like mid-sex, her vagina turns into a giant like toothed caiman.
Yeah.
Just starts trying to eat the
That's what
guy.
Teeth is all about.
Have you guys ever played Dante's Inferno?
No, but I've heard about it.
Yeah. So
I've read it. Well,
I haven't read it.
I've seen a lot of movies about it.
Really?
Yeah.
If they're anything like the game, I want to watch them.
Dante's conception of hell is the modern like pseudo-Christian conception of hell. Just like our entire concept of, and we talked about this when we were talking about the Horus Heresy in brief, our entire concept of like the fall of Satan or the fall of Horus, however you want to put it, is based on Milton's Paradise Lost. There are these books that exist actually outside of Christendom that have been worked into the religion.
You know,
so weird to me.
I know I'm dumb. Like I know I'm dumb.
Yeah.
But shut the fuck up, Tom.
Bitch, we buying you a map.
Fucking agreeing with you, all right?
You don't have to agree with me. I know you.
I know I don't have to.
So your point was,
but my point was when you called Horus Satan, it kind of clicked to me. Yeah, you're 100% right.
It's
straight up Lucifer, right?
Yeah,
he betrayed his father. You know, the whole spiel.
The Horus Heresy. If you are familiar with classic literature and you know Milton's Paradise Lost, read Milton's Paradise Lost and then go look at the events of the Horus Heresy, and it's very easy to see that. Like, obviously, there's a lot more details. There's a lot more shiny gubbins. A lot more shiny gubbins. But it's very, very easy to see the allegory. What's up?
There's a lot of really stupid names.
Like shiny gubbins? Or
the one thing about the Horus Heresy that I'm not looking forward to researching is the fact that they will over explain or what's the word? Over
accentuate?
Yeah, they will over accentuate like the details of like a curtain. Like the curtain was made of silk.
Yeah, it's basically exactly how Ryan talks.
Hey.
It's basically how Ryan talks about literally fucking everything.
It's how Kevin talks about video games.
It's how Kevin talks about video games.
You're a bitch. Okay. As my voice.
As I said eloquently about my book series earlier, about Dante's Inferno and so and forth, it was made of silvery gold and dick driddles.
Are you making fun? Making fun of my like?
I don't even know what I'm making fun
education.
of I don't know what I'm making fun of anymore.
Tom's just weird.
So to bring it back,
tired.
this is the conversation that freebooters would have.
Yes,
because it takes a lot of shiny gubbins to talk about all this bullshit. So anyway, freebooters glyphs. So to get back to freebooters war bands can be identified by their use of the Jolly Orc glyph, with each war boss boasting his own variation of the orc skull with crossed bones. Yeah, so think of the Jolly Roger, but it's with orc stuff.
Yeah, orky.
Shocking.
Shockingly original.
Yeah, they got pirate hats on. What's that? Pirate flag.
I thought Shocking was the name of your freebooter for a second. Does he like a lot of shock weapons? Shore King. Got you. You want to touch on specific types of orcs, or do you want to talk about Gork and more?
Shore King Black Flag.
I mean, we can touch on the little subcultures. I don't know too much on them. We can I can do a little research on them, and we can go into them probably in our history.
We'd love to get a little bit more into the cults. There are 2 cults, or there's 2 big cults,
right?
And
the
they
cult
can
of
be
speed.
a little interesting. Yeah,
that's one of my favorites is the cult of speed. But they have a bunch of like little sub. Like where orcs fall, like how do I put this? It's like they're
like Storm Boys would be a good example. Storm Boys are part of
Fly Boys.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking like Storm Boys popped in mind. What are the guys we just talked about? The sneaky ones.
The sneaky ones? Commandos?
Blood Axes.
Yeah.
Like Blood Axes have Storm Boys. Storm Boys always fall under Blood Axes, but kind of they're dealt with differently. Anyway, I'm sorry. Continue with.
Oh, well, the kind of like, I guess we can break it down like this. So when an orc is born, when a mama and daddy orc love each other very much.
When a mama
release spores.
When a mama and a daddy spore go through the sporification process. Is that what it's called?
Sporification. I like that. It's very scientific.
Sporification.
I like that.
I like how you just made fun of me for being really wordy, and I'm like, sporification.
Let me explain about spores that don't need to be explained about.
He's the one who were like, orcs have sex. I was just like, nah, dog.
I didn't say that. I said when a mom and daddy orc.
Already over explaining what just occurred.
But so
anyway, so in Dawn of War.
So to get back on it, when an orc is born, they kind of, I guess you could say it's their calling. So when they finally find their calling, I'm gonna use my favorite for example, or as an example, the orcs that like to go fast. They are considered speed freaks, and in that, because they are speed freaks, they join basically the cult of speed, and that's kind of like their little mob. And then if they're lucky enough, they can join the Evil Sons as a clan culture as a whole. And that's kind of how it's broken up. You kind of have your calling, and then you kind of have your mob, and then you have a clan that basically as a collective, they have their own.
So what's the other cult then besides the cult of speed?
I believe Ryan is.
Yeah, so there's the cult of speed, and then there is another cult, which I think it's in one of the expanded books. But the other thing that they usually balance out with the cult of speed is odd boys. So odd boys are orcs that most orcs love. All orcs love fighting. Some orcs love going fast, cult of speed. Some orcs love doing other things, odd boys.
Yeah, so the odd boys are considered your mechs.
Mechs are good.
Pain boys.
Anything that anything that delves, any orc that delves a little bit more into like the science and engineering side.
Yeah, so it's your mech boys, your pain boys, and your weird boys.
Weird boys.
Yeah.
So pain boy, mech boys are my favorite. In fact, my kit bashed army, any of my orc boys who have lost weapon or lost limbs, I've kit bash little cybernetic arms and shit in. Yeah, I really like the idea that an orc would overcome a problem by just fucking bolting on a couple of mechanical parts.
Lop it off and throw a third arm on it.
However, my second favorite are pain boys. I love the concept of pain boys. So a pain boy is an orc doctor. However, going to the orc doctor isn't necessarily a good idea.
You don't go to the orc doctor. The orc doctor comes to you.
You might be like, hey, orc doc, I have a pain in my foot. And the orc doc is like, that's great. The only way to fix it is experimental surgery. Okay, boss. And then you wake up and your leg is a bomb. Pain boys just like to experiment. Experimental surgery. That's the way it is. They want to add another arm. They want to add another organ. They want to figure out how a space marine works. So they might carve a space marine up and then carve open a grot and put space marine organs in a grot just to see if the grot changes. And then like the grot dies and they're like, oh, well, I guess the grot wasn't powerful enough. I need to try this again on a boy. And then the boy dies and they're like, I need to try this again on the knob. And then the knob dies and they're like, I need to try this again on the war boss.
Eventually they'll get somewhere that they're like, oh, okay, this works. I'm gonna sew this second Space Marine anus onto the face of my war boss. Face munch rocka.
Oh my god. He's really big on the ass stuff every time.
I was gonna say
really big on the ass.
It's like usually anything that Mark has to like expand upon usually involves an anus.
Dicks.
Remember when he wanted us to explain the entire universe as an asshole?
Yeah,
I'm a simple man. Okay? I am a simple man. There are guys out there like me, I hope, Because
I hope not.
that can only
It's
be
the last thing we
can
need.
only be explained by ass, dick, and fart jokes. Okay.
I mean, ass, dick, and fart jokes do make the world go round. So.
Yeah. Come on.
But a pain boy, the way that orc physiology works is a pain boy might reattach. You know, orc might lose their arm, and a pain boy might turn to another patient in his surgery and chop that dude's right arm off and give it to the guy who just lost a right arm. And then that arm might actually, it has a very, very good chance, an incredibly good chance of just working immediately.
Yeah.
With
I
like
think,
duct tape and staples.
yeah, I think the fail rate is like 0.0023% of an organ or transplant failing.
Yeah. And then the orc who came in for a toothache, who just had his right arm chopped off to help the orc that came in without an arm, then needs something to replace his arm and probably isn't worried about his toothache anymore.
And that's where the mech guy
Right.
comes. I think they're called mechaniacs.
Yeah. They do all the
The
weird stuff.
Animaniacs.
Yeah.
But you just call them mechs for short. So they're
But-
mechaniacs.
I've always loved the term organic mechanic.
Yep. That's definitely Pain Boys.
I was
right
gonna say,
there.
that's a pain boy.
Yeah.
So,
Or they call them organics.
well, yeah.
And then the last one's going to be Weird Boys. Yeah, so Weird Boys are basically naturally attuned to the warp. They're your
bane of my existence. on
yeah. They're
tabletop.
like your librarian version, if you could say that, a librarian version to your Space Marines. You got Weird Boys. Your Weird Boys are very psychically attuned to the warp. They don't. I don't know if attuned is the right word. They can wield the warp, but not very well. Weird Boys are very, very well known for their brains to just fucking explode. So boys just try to avoid them, and then they're just kind of like, hey man, you see Jeff over there? Watch this. He just fucking blows up because he had a bad day.
one of the best things I think like I've seen Weird Boys do and actually experienced it on the tabletop. I can't remember the term, but basically like the amount of boys around them increases their psychic energy.
Yep. Yeah.
And so the more boys they have around them, the better chances they are of like releasing a psychic.
Yeah, it's
like,
their
weapon.
wah power or
Yeah.
warp energy around
Yeah.
all the natural warp energy. Around
And they
boys.
will literally vomit on you
Yeah, there's
with like their smite is like psychic vomit.
Yep.
And it's like what do they call it? Ectoplasma.
Yeah.
Where they literally are like and like they throw up on you and it will kill you. Like
boy.
it's fucking horrible.
I've always liked the idea too that like the wog energy that surrounds orcs like exists like an ectoplasm.
Yeah.
Like thing like Slimer, like that
Oh,
greenish
God.
weird ectoplasm of slime. No, it wasn't green. What was it? Purple?
No, it was
I
green.
thought it was green.
green.
No. In the second one,
Pink.
Is it pink?
Yeah, the ooze.
Yeah, the ooze.
Oh, yeah.
In
Yeah.
the subways.
It's pure psychic energy. What is it?
Is it Vigo the Carpathian, but it's an orc. There you go. There's an orky name.
Oh God, what
That's
was I gonna
fancy.
say?
Vigo.
What
Was
was
that
the-
the Conjuring? The Conjuring?
Vigo.
Was that the movie? Yeah, no.
What about it?
The Conjuring? No, it was another movie. There was a movie about like this kid who they bought a house. This kid has like cancer or something. They buy this house. Well, it turns out that this house was used for like rituals. And there was like
Is it the one where the basement is a morgue?
Yes, yeah. The Haunting in Connecticut, I think it was called.
Yeah, I
Something like that?
know the movie you're talking about. I cannot fucking remember.
I think
the
it's a
name.
Haunting in Connecticut is what it's
That's
called.
a random ass name, for
Dude,
a
it is
It's
like
just
they
like
show.
the
So they
end.
show
Haunting in Florida.
New York. See, well, so basically, there's like in this movie, there's a kid who he becomes like a conduit for spirits, and when he does, ectoplasm comes out of his mouth, and it's like horrifically disgusting.
Oh, I remember
Yeah,
that.
it's like you're watching it, and you're just like, oh, and it's like he's sitting there, and he's literally like, and it's just like oozing out of his mouth, and it's like floating in the air and like glowing and shit.
I have something inappropriate. To
Dude,
say.
no, it's
I'm not
yeah.
gonna say it.
Yeah, it's bad.
I'm
It's
not
real
gonna say
bad. It's real
It's
bad.
inappropriate.
It's real bad.
Yeah.
Real bad.
It's more inappropriate than what I normally am.
So, what else? Anything else? Anything to close out on Weird Boys? Boys?
No, they're just
Did you get-
boys like to avoid them because their heads explode. Yeah.
And the more
mentioned that.
more weird boys that are
More
around, the more weird boys that are around. See that weird boy over there? I'm gonna
Jersey
sneak up on
Australian
him
accent.
and shove my thumb up his bumhole.
Hey man, that's my joke. Don't say that.
Yeah, right.
So the more weird boys that are around, you can like actually reach a critical weird mass.
Critical
And
mass.
then their heads will pop, and then boys around, just normal boys or normal orcs heads will pop too. The other interesting thing about weird boys, and we can get a lot deeper into each of these if you guys would like us to, or as we move on, but they have to carry brass rods, right? To like dispel their power.
Yeah, they need like a conduit.
Yeah. Anything else on specialized orcs? Yeah, I know the Discord had asked us to get into the orc gods, and the orc gods, Gork and Mork, have definitely had a shift in 8th that I think we need to talk about.
This is like
There
the
is
last
one
topic
more
we should-
that aren't really
go for it.
around because I think it's like inappropriate, but there's something called Mad Boys.
Mad boys.
Now,
Okay.
I didn't write down any of their names because it's basically a bunch of boys that have health problems. they have one that's called like the schizo.
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah,
you
yeah.
remember those?
Yeah,
it
I
was
remember
way
those.
back in the day. So it's basically a bunch of
They're crazies.
Yeah, they're
essentially.
crazies essentially, and it's a mob of boys that all the other boys keep together because they're the Mad Boys, and they basically send them out into battle. And you used to actually have to roll to see what they would do.
Yeah, what they would attack.
Yeah. And
Like your Carnifex without a synapse creature.
yeah,
around.
something like that.
I think more of that is because GW moved away from the does it attack nearest unit rules.
Oh, I don't know when they went away. This was something that I found in the Rogue Trader book. But I was like, wow, they're like throwing a bunch of, orcs with health problems into a group, and they're like, oh, go die.
Orcs. How about mentally unstable orcs?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. Imagine.
Great. Well, there's the pink orcs, which are fabled, there's
fabled pink orcs.
yeah, there's no real definition to them. It's more like hearsay. But there was a saying that dishonored orcs were thrown into a pit of pink slime, and those orcs would band together after a while, and they were like the dishonored orcs. All the other orcs hated them.
Yeah, you were saying that they're like the runts almost.
Yeah, like they were the ones that were like hated most by other orcs.
And then there's the purple orcs, but we don't have any information because no one ever sees them.
Yeah, I've never seen one.
Gray Knight orcs.
Gray Knight orcs.
Gray Knight orcs.
So can we? So we definitely want to talk about color. Let's talk about colors. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean we kind of touched on colors.
Yeah, orcs have a weird relationship with colors. Colors mean different things to an orc, and because they have a belief in it, that belief manifests through their genetic, a combination of their like kind of genetic memory and just the way that the warp works. So enough orcs
And how they work with the warp.
Yeah. Enough orcs think that red goes faster.
Yep.
The big joke there that I just brought up was purple orcs. Purple is the color of stealth. And if you ask an orc why purple is the color of stealth, is an orc's reply will be like, well, I've never seen a purple orc. Have you?
And there you have it.
That's funny. I didn't get that at first, but that's funny.
So the orc gods, this is kind of a new bit of lore. The orc gods, Gork and Mork, were always kind of treated a bit more as a fable. But in the 8th edition codex, so 8th edition forward, they're actually revealed and defined as gods. So just like all other races in the galaxy, orcs interact in some way with the warp. Even the Tau interact with the warp, just not as much. Very, very, very tiny amount of interaction, but they do interact. And the one thing that orcs love more than anything is fighting. So as to where, some of humans' emotions and fears and veneration of the 7 deadly sins or whatever kind of gave rise to the ruinous powers, the dark gods, the lust and the lust and the bloodlust, I guess, of the Eldar gave rise to Slaanesh, and, the scheming and all of that gave rise to Tzeentch and all that. Those all kind of imply a certain amount of worship. There's a certain amount of worship that goes into manifesting these gods a little bit better. Orcs don't worship. Orcs fight. Because orcs fight, Gork and Mork fight. Orcs are also really old, and they're descended from an older race. And just like the Eldar gods, although the Eldar gods were largely destroyed, Gork and Mork have been around longer than the dark gods. And Gork and Mork grow more powerful, just like their followers, just like orcs, by constantly fighting. So it's said that Gork is brutal but cunning,
But cunning.
and Mork is cunning but brutal. And they are incredibly powerful deities which laugh and shrug off even the most powerful combined forces of the dark chaos gods. They almost don't exist or play in that world in a way because they don't give a shit.
Yeah,
they would rather see a fight.
Yeah, and the only thing formidable for them to fight is each other.
Yeah,
exactly.
They have no desire to be in the schemes of the dark powers because fuck it. I don't need to fight you.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're not going to give me a proper fight, then
and hence they're just in an eternal loop of fighting each other.
Yeah, and Corn's like, I ain't fucking with that.
Yeah. Corn winds up and slaps at Gork, and Gork just grins, bares his long teeth, and lands a mighty blow against Corn with a spiked club that's the size of a comet. And then, while Corn is reeling from that, Mork gives him a nice low blow to the kidney to teach him a fucking lesson.
And then they have a laugh about it, go to the pub and fight each other.
Yep. And to figure out like kind of what these guys look like, you have to look at the just absolutely insane creations of mech boys. We're talking about the Gargants and the Stampas.
Yeah.
These are giant mechanical temples, if you will, fighting temples to Gork and Mork. And
I was gonna say where Gork is like the orc god of like crumping and fighting and shooting. Mork is more the god of like, I'm gonna help you build the biggest, baddest, nastiest snaz gun you've ever seen.
Yeah.
So mech boys usually pray to Mork, where like Goths would usually pray to Gork.
Find favor with Gork.
Yeah, exactly.
But as a mech boy grows more powerful, or as a warband grows more powerful, and they start building Gargants and Stampas. Gargants and Stampas are like the Imperium builds shrines to the Emperor. You know, think of giant cathedrals. The Orks build giant war machines to either crump or shoot.
Yeah, big fuck off robots.
And we even have Gorkanauts and Morkanauts, which have different uses on the battlefield and stuff like that.
Yep.
They're big armored war suits that are tributes to and intimidation pieces for their gods. And the Orks have chosen to see the Cicatrix Maledictum as Gork's grin.
That's pretty cool.
Bringing about a certain amount of chaos and a certain amount of strife and warfare back to the galaxy. Things that made the galaxy good again.
Yeah, Gork's.
Fuck, I almost screwed that. I almost said great again.
Gork's grin and Mork's asshole.
What is it with you? And never mind. I don't. Fine.
I have 10 jokes.
Fine.
This is one of them.
I have 10 jokes. This is one of them. Yeah. So that, I mean, that's kind of a dive into what orcs are. That's a lot of information about what orcs are. Orcs are definitely a player favorite. They're definitely a good army to start with, especially if you kind of want to get into.
It depends. I think
painting 120 models.
Yeah, it is a fun army to get into. It's not very beginner friendly, but if you're looking to have a good time, there's a saying that kind of goes with the hobby is like you never fight a salty orc player, and that's because when you play orcs or you decide to become an orc player, you're not playing to win. You're playing to crump.
There is no winning or losing. Exactly. There is just fighting. There's that meme where like Eldar are fighting to revigorate their race. The Empire is fighting for the greater, or the Tau Empire is fighting for the greater good. The Imperium of Man is fighting to venerate the Emperor on the golden throne, and then it's the orc at the bottom, and fight is fight.
Yeah, if we's fighting, we's winning. If we's dying, at least we died fighting.
Yep.
If we's running, we get to live another day to fight again.
But the orcs are a very good foil to Space Marines. If you want to look at it in traditional kind of fantasy terms, you know, there's the humans and there's the orcs. Like in the Blizzard game, there's a human Warcraft 2. Yeah. Humans versus orcs. It was like the tagline. So that's really what you got. You know, orcs sit opposed to Space Marines. In a lot of ways.
Yeah, I love them. I love the greenskins, man. They're a fan favorite. They're one of my. They definitely grew to be one of my favorites. Actually, my favorite color is green. You guys learned something new about me.
Interesting. There you go. We learned something about you today.
Yeah, that isn't. It doesn't have to do with assholes.
And it
dicks.
wasn't about what part of geography do you not know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can sit here all day and we can go through everything.
You realize that the ocean is west of us currently, right?
I learned that a couple years ago.
Okay, good.
So what the hell is a globe?
What is
It's like, west?
the Earth is flat.
Where-
y'all.
North is up, duh.
I've always liked going south. It somehow feels like going downhill.
Yeah, definitely. If you guys want to hear more in-depth stuff, or ask more questions, questions to us, we'll answer. If you want me to come up with names for your orcs, I'm actually slightly enjoying that. So I will happily come up with stupid ass names for your orcs.
Or send us names of orcs and we'll have Tom read them.
No, send us 2 things. Give me 2 description words about your orc army, and I will come up with a boss.
That's all it takes.
Yeah.
Bean Flicka got me so good.
All right. I got that. I got one. I want to.
Are we doing a tester right now?
We do a tester.
All right. So squirrel red. Should have been easy. Like, just do it. Whatever's in your head.
Big
do
2
it.
fastnuts.
I was like,
That's That's just so good.
Big 2 fastnuts.
I was thinking like,
Oh my god, it's so good.
I was thinking,
I was like squirrel. I was like squirrel, big teeth, nuts. Got it.
Yeah. And then fast because red. It is.
You're welcome.
Beautiful. Love it.
blood nut fast runner.
Blood nut fast
Big
runner.
2 fast nuts.
Oh my god.
He's just got one big square tooth, dude. He's just big old balls. He's got a pair of nuts, like metal nuts.
Oh, shit.
That he wears on a chain around his waist.
It's like that fucking scene in whatever it is, the second Transformers movie.
Yeah, it's
underneath the 2 wrecking balls.
Yeah. No,
So-
definitely. Like that was a perfect example. We need to do more of that because I enjoy that.
That was pretty funny. So there's we definitely plan on getting into, or we are planning already. We've already planned out some episodes that will cover some of the big historical events in Orc and Imperium's shared history. The Wars of Armageddon is definitely something we're going to get into. Probably get a little bit more into Gaz's background as well. There's a bunch of stuff in Orcs that we just briefly touched on. We do plan on elaborating on it as needed. As we get into the War of Armageddon, we'll probably talk about more about commandos. And stuff like that.
If people want to hear more about it.
Yeah. And if you've got, you got questions about Orcs, fucking ask us, man. Like that's what we're here for.
We dig it.
Yeah. But we definitely are trying to strive for, with these deep dive episodes, these 2-part deep dive episodes, or not deep dive, but these 2-part kind of faction overview episodes. We're really looking to lay a bunch of stuff out that can help you start making those first decisions towards the creative writing process.
Right. And just choosing your army ultimately,
That's what we're here. We're here.
I'm just here to make fun of stuff.
Yeah, well, that too. We're just here to make fun of stuff. But
fast nuts.
we want to get into the creative writing and the lore side with you guys, and we definitely, that stuff is on the horizon. We are getting closer every day.
Day.
With those light panels putting out such a lovely sunset pattern, take tonight to snuggle up with a sweetheart while looking over the radioactive glow ponds of Beta Zed's Hive skimps. If you guys want to connect with us a little more directly, you can find us on Discord.
Definitely the best way to reach out to us because we're on there at all times during the week and weekends.
We have an awesome and growing community, and we just started working on our, or didn't start, but we are working on a community project called the Hive Project, where we are developing a little bit more of the backstory of the Innsmouth Hive.
Yeah, y'all pieces of shit, for real. I hate every single one of you.
Mark, we're trying.
Did you ever disrespect me like that in front of our fans?
Mark, we're trying. Oh, us. Okay, us.
No.
Us.
It was
perfect.
It was the fans. It was the fans.
So if you guys would like to support what we're doing, our Patreon is up and live, and we are working on the extra content that we can drip out to you guys monthly. You'll also be able to find some Q&As there, as well as some polls. We definitely turn to our patrons first when we're trying to figure out if there's questions that we may have missed when we're trying to plan out an episode, or if there's something you guys want to see us do, or even to just pick maybe which direction we go in first. If you would like to join the Hive gang and become a four-armed rat, you can find us at www.patreon.com/underthehiveofmadness. You can find us on social media through Linktree. Our Linktree is Linktree/underthehive. That'll give you real quick good access to our Twitter, our Instagram, our Facebook accounts, as well as a couple of other good ones. If you would like to reach out to us directly, you can do that via email at underthehiveofmadness@gmail.com or jimdarkgaming@gmail.com. As always, I've dropped the spellings as well as links down in the show notes to make it just a little bit easier on you guys. This has been 665.66 UHMR Chemrat Radio. Once again, reminding you to leave a throne or two at your local four-armed Emperor Fane tonight to avoid unwanted hive mite infestations. Once they get under your toes, they are a little hard to get rid of.
I was going to say, watch out for them toe suckers, man.
Well, it looks like Frank's begging us to sign off before Beast shoots any of more of his mouthy customers, so we'll catch you guys next time.
They should have shut their mouths when I was trying to eat my chimichanga.
Man, warmongers out here today, man. We out here.